Hi, this is Hira. I'm one of the co-hosts of Generational Icons.
Welcome to Generational Icons. Yes, we do have a very special guest here today. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jithu. So from what I know, he is an agent, a rockstar agent, an investor, and then also a founder of Dig Chess. And then I'm son and all that. I'm missing a lot more. Am I missing more, or is that it?
No, you got most of them.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Awesome. All right. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We really do appreciate it. We appreciate you taking the time to kind of talk with us. And so it means a lot. And so to give you some background on who we are and what we do, right, and why this all came about, and what kind of the topics of conversations today is going to look like. So we believe that there's an icon. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. It doesn't have to be a celebrity or influencer. It could be people who are kind of creating generational wealth, changing their family dynamics, right? And so if you're changing your family dynamics, you are the person, you are the icon in your family, right? Because the legacy continues even when you're gone. And so the three topics that we're going to be focusing on today are basically culture and identity, kind of talking about who you are, where you came from, and all that. Health and wellness, right? Because that's really important. Mental, emotional, physical, all of that. And then we'll talk about financial independence, because as an immigrant, when you come to this country, right, that's usually the goal. So if you don't mind, let's start off with culture and identity. So if you don't mind, kind of talking about giving us a little bit about your background, right? We know you from social media, but what do we not know, right? Kind of give us the backstory before you came to America and all that.
Sure. Thank you for coming out to Stanford to do this for me. So, yeah, like you said, I'm Jithu. I'm originally from India, so I came here about 9 years ago.
What part?
Kerala, India, and so I went to school in India for elementary and middle school. So when I came here, I was in high school. So and to be honest with you, it was just complete shock in many ways. And the biggest thing was how much opportunity you have. And I know everybody talks about this, but I give you like real examples. When I was in India, when I was in school there, the only way you to have a shot at being anywhere, being successful, was education, right? And you had to be top of the top. And you also, like, Indians are, they're usually smart. So you can't just be the hardest working, you just gotta be like really smart as well. So I always had like working hard and trying to get stuff done, like even in school in India, but there was nothing else, right? It was school, and that was it. So when I came here and I saw that you could do clubs, you could do sports, like while you could do good at school, right? So that was a big change for me. I'm like, well, I didn't think you could do that, because that was never a thing in back then. So that itself was a big thing for me, because culture-wise, I think your whole model about your podcast aligns a lot with me, because I'm definitely the one that I guess
kind of changing the trajectory of your
family. for my family, because my family, everybody's an engineer. They went to college, school, went to good college, and this is completely against my family wishes. So it's a lot like anybody else in my especially doing business, which I've never heard of. It's a lot of obstacles to get through.
Because in South Asian world is doctor, engineer, right. Lawyer, right? I think those are three that we're supposed to.
I think a lot of them are forced to be one. Like I know I could name you like from my family, that a lot of them, they didn't have a choice. Yeah. That was the only door they were open to. If they didn't want to do it. Like for me, like I know I didn't want to do that, but at the same time, I don't know what else I want to do, because there was no other doors open, right? So it was like a lot of them I feel like are forced to be part of that, but I feel like a good number of them could be even more successful in other things.
So what brought you guys over here? I guess you said you came here
So my story, my dad left India because we never came from a area with money, so he had to find ways to make money, and so he left early on, right after get married with my mom. He started in Dubai, and then always working hard, like just doing. He was a chef and cleaning hotels, and then he had an opportunity to come to America with my dad's brother. He had a job here, but he was still like working at gas stations and trying to figure out family. So we couldn't go with him because he didn't have enough money to bring us over. So we had to kind of stay with our grandparents. So that's why I was in India for 9 years of my life. But then, in high school, it was, my parents really wanted me to go to high school here, so then I could go to college. So that's how we came here. It was through my dad. Yeah.
And you came here, you said 9 years ago?
Yeah, I was a freshman in high school at that time. Yeah, it was even coming here, like, I spoke English, but not good. Plus, it was huge accent and everything. So, yeah, so it's it was hard, like, when it came in, like, there's you can't speak the language, you can't make friends, you don't know anything going on. Well, like, I think it was perfect timing for me because it really pushed me. So first of all, like, coming to here with no friends, not able to speak language, you have no choice but to learn the language, right? So and sound like an American, because if you don't, like, then you don't fit together. I also went to a school that's predominantly, like, from here. There wasn't, like,
You came here to Connecticut?
Bristol, Connecticut. So there wasn't, like, I think I was the only Indian, if I remember. There was no somebody else I could.
It was definitely a culture shock for you.
Culture shock. And the other thing I want to add to that is I feel a lot of people that come here, when they come here, they try to find, like, Indians, like, they will try to find other Indians in the community, which personally I don't think is the best thing to do, because then if you came all the way from India and you're just hanging out with other Indians, like, you're limited to what you're gonna learn. So I was very fortunate. I was very happy my parents, like, brought me to Bristol, where, like, there was nobody that aligns or know my culture, right? So which is great because I learned the American way, how to do things American. And I was just thinking, like, the town over from me, Farmington, it was, like, fully Indian. So, like, I always thought about what would my life be if I was with them.
The next town over.
It would definitely wouldn't be business because then I'm just with my mom, and my mom still to this day tells me I should be an engineer. Like, she, after everything I do, she still say you should go and be an engineer, be a doctor. Like, so if I didn't have the crowd I had here, and if I was other Indians, then there was no chance I would have found out that I have a whole nother life I could have done in business. So I think that's important to find, especially if it's like when you go into an environment, right? You don't align yourself with the people that you already know. Try to learn new culture and new people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get, I guess, how did you break through that barrier of, like, acceptance, right? I think that's one of the, especially in a lot of us being immigrants as well, similar story like yourself. It's one thing, like, you have to sort of, and I started here at elementary school, so I was fortunate to not have, but even then I faced sort of, I guess, differences, right, of opinions and discrimination and so forth. Over here, were they just more accepting because you were someone that they're not familiar with? Or did you just, like, over time, just work through the differences, try to fit in, and things like that?
Yeah, they definitely wasn't accepting at all. I definitely faced a lot of discrimination. Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, it wasn't. It was probably the best thing that happened to me, because if I didn't have that, I don't know, because there was nobody there that telling me that, hey, it's okay that somebody made fun of you because you have an accent. It's okay. Like, everybody was just making fun of you that I could think of. Like, I remember coming to freshman year, I couldn't make a single friend because every time I talk something, they will find a way to make fun of my accent. Like, literally everybody, I which was very sad at the time. But I quickly realized that, hey, listen, it is what it is. Like, you either learn the language, right? And if I had somebody telling me that, hey, it's okay, people will understand, maybe I would not have learned. So when I found out that there's no way I could, like, make friends, and, like, and I always been the person that I want to take advantage of opportunities, because I came from not having them from India, and I'm sure you guys agree too, right? So I did want to, like, I was never shy. If I had an opportunity, I'll take it. So, like, I remember, doing a lot of programs, even not even speaking, like, one of them was, like, Bristol Police Cadet. I was part of this program that trained you to be a police officer. That was, like, a big program for me, because that one, I remember the police officers, like, obviously being a police officer involves a lot of talking, interviewing people, able to, confront situations. So, like, I'm here, maybe could put, like, 3 sentences together, right, and without stuttering, and those officers, like, and they didn't care. They didn't care that I didn't speak. They still put me in the same scenario, which involves, like,
tough situations.
Like, you go and talk to people. Oh, somebody's suicide. You gotta go talk them up. Like, like, how do. So that was big for me, because that really pushed me, especially, like, from the police officer. They just push you, like, there's no support. That was a big change. So I think, yeah, because of all that, and I try to align myself with programs, and it just really pushed me to, like, learn the culture. It was more like I had to do it. There was no choice. So that was a big thing.
Do you think that, we always talk about culture and identity, right? Do you think that culture plays a really big part in who you are today?
Yeah.
Especially your background, you talked about where you came from and all that, but you're also trying to get adapted to the American culture. So do you think that shaped you a lot in terms of who you are today and where you're looking to go?
100%. I think that my original culture of there's a bunch of like obviously being Indian, there are things that I won't do. Like I know like I don't smoke, I don't drink. I don't do any of that. That's because of my culture and I come from. Right. I don't even have interest in them. So that's big. And I mean there's definitely things from both sides that I've taken. I think like working hard, the hardest as possible. I was always taught like you got to be the hardest working person in the room. That was definitely from my Indian culture, right?
Yeah.
But learning about business side and how to manage people, that's more of American culture. So mix of both. But definitely, if it wasn't those Indian traditional things I had, if I was like fully American that just lives in here, like I also think like people, I guess more default about American culture, but I got from Indian culture was that here people are like are accepting even if you don't achieve something that you're
Like
supposed
mediocre,
to.
yeah.
They're okay with it. Where like in India, that's not okay.
Or cutthroat, right?
You have to.
So you gotta
Yeah,
get
yeah,
A's.
yeah.
If it was a B, you gotta
That's exactly what I'm gonna
failure.
say, right?
100% you're a failure.
You gotta
if
be
you
A plus or
Yeah.
it's not good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so I think it makes it both help out.
Got it. So when you went to college though, right, did you already have your mindset on like, I want to pursue business? Like, did you go through some sort of like exploration effort to figure out like what I want to do with the rest of my life?
Yeah, so just give you a little background on that. So my biggest thing, I guess, what changed my life over and over and over was chess, right? There's one game that I can't thank how many times it helped me. So I learned chess in India. I was 5th grade. My mom forced me to go to this chess club because I was not a good kid. I was getting into fights. I was getting in trouble all the time, and I was never into anything. Right, I wasn't good at sports, so like it was just my mom got me to
First hobby.
first hobby. But then when I saw the chess game and chess, where everything's just fascinating, all the pieces, how they move, and that helped me so much. I finally found something that I'm good at, and then I started playing in tournaments. I took it so seriously. I play every day and go to compete and learn and study. So that was my life. Even when I came here in 9th grade, every weekend was chess tournaments. Saturday, Sunday, playing in tournaments, travel all across the country. I played in probably over 700 tournaments, maybe even 1,000 if I'm not surprised, right? So, I mean, I was Connecticut high school champion a couple times, so that was my life, just competing in chess tournaments, right? So the whole business side came in when COVID happened. When COVID happened, I couldn't play anymore, so that was a big stop to what I was doing. So I was was looking for things to do now, especially with COVID and not being home. And coaching was always a thing that inspired me because every time I go to a tournament, they always had a coach guiding them, and my parents weren't able to afford it, so a lot of the learning was for myself. So it was something I wanted to give back. I did myself to few people I know in my neighborhood. It worked out. Found out I was pretty good at coaching. But the biggest change that I would say, like that got me into business, is that I met a guy who's actually my partner now in chess. So his name is Dan. So I was at that time already a very good chess player, probably one of the top in the state. This is like 2020. So, and I saw this guy. He runs a soccer company, but he also teaches chess. Right, like it's a big thing for him in the winter. But the thing that surprised me was he was not a good chess player. Like he is just like I could beat him with my eyes closed. Right, like you could play. I know you play chess. Like his rating was like 1100. Right, I was like at that time like 2100. So it's like
I'm probably around 1100.
Yeah, right. So like somebody like him running a chess company, right? So like it just blew my mind out. I was like, how are you doing that? Because I knew I was good, but I thought I'd been on the whole level, like a grandmaster, 2500 for you to even like think about starting a chess company. That was a big change for me. I was like, okay, so I realized that you don't need. There's a difference between being really good at chess, like a chess player, and also running a business. Two different skills. It's not aligned. It's running a chess business is only a product, but that doesn't tell you about anything about your business skill. So that was huge for me. The fact that, and he does it better than people that I know that were getting masters, right? But he had more kids than people. You're just complete shock how you do it, you know. So
He's an overall good businessman. Yeah.
right, you know, and that's when I first got my introduction to business. I was like, okay, it's actually not just playing chess. There's a whole nother level. So yeah, I started working. I wanted to work for him. He didn't want to hire me, but I was like, hey, I'll just do it for free. I want to just learn, you know. So yeah, him and I worked together in the COVID. He gave me a couple of private lessons. I did really well, and he started giving me more. And I started giving him a lot of business. All the people that I know in the chess pro, I started giving him more schools and everything. He taught me everything about business, like follow up, how to talk to parents, and like complete different skill knowledge and everything that I did not know. Yeah, I've been doing that for 6 years. So. And now I'm co-founder with him on the business. So I started as a coach. I worked my way up as a bookkeeper to like admin person to like a head coach, and I did it all. So chess taught me like all that business skills, you know. And I've been working on this for last 6 years every day for 24/7. You know, like I'm only 22, but here's what I understand. Like I ran a business 6 years, and I've been working 12 hours a day for the last 6 years. You know how much you learn? Like it's not about, you know, oh, you're young, it's one thing to be said about you being young, but it's another thing to say like what have you done? I mean, it doesn't take that long for you to learn a lot of things, especially if you put like 12 hours a day for 6 years. You got so much experience. Like, you know, you learn so much about things that you just like I don't need to. Sometimes I can just feel how things will end, you know, because just from like what I learned in the past, right? Biggest thing I got out of chess is intuition. So in chess, when you get to be an advanced player, you know, an average player in my level probably thinks like 10 to 12 moves at any time ahead of the game, right? Maybe sometimes even 20. But like sometimes, like, you know, there's usually a chess timer. When the game goes for longer, the chess time goes down, which means you have a lot of pressure to make faster moves.
To finish the game quicker.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So at that time, you're not thinking all the 12 moves ahead.
Right.
So you gotta go with your gut. You gotta feel like, you know, sometimes I can't even think what's gonna happen. I just have a feeling that this is the right move. So that was big in real estate. So a lot of the times, like, you know, I have a team here, like they bring up like, you know, problems to me, and I just automatically know what's gonna be the solution to this. Mostly, I don't have to think through it. It's a lot of intuition. So chess taught me a lot about intuition, how to think, you know, ahead, how to find the right solution without calculating everything, right? So that was a big thing for me.
That's amazing. I want to quickly touch base before we move on. You were talking about. So did you moved here with your parents?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you moved here, did you like immediately buy a house, or did you guys like live in an apartment? Like, what does that situation look like?
When we moved
Or
here,
family?
we lived in a studio with 4 of us, like 400 square feet studio. Then my dad got like a 2-bedroom. We were renting for a long time. My parents bought their first house in 2019. Then I bought my first house in 2022, my first investment property. But yeah, we were living in a small apartment in Bristol. Yeah, it was very, very nice area.
Yeah. No, I can imagine. Yeah. We same thing like me. I grew up in a 1-bedroom apartment with me, my brother, and my parents. I think up until I was 17 years old. Yeah.
So you know exactly.
Yeah. I mean, so you know.
But for me, it doesn't really bother me. I mean, I know that it could be annoying, but I don't know. I just never like. Well, when I was in India too, like we never really had a lot of big houses, so I never felt like, wow, I'm missing out. I don't have more bedrooms. I slept in my car many nights. I slept in people's garages. Like there's one time I actually slept in a school a couple times. I don't care. I as long as I have a place to sleep. I never been the space. I don't need a lot of space, a lot of bedrooms. I'm okay, you know.
Like a minimalist kind of, in a sense, yeah.
I don't need a lot of
I
things.
guess your passion drives you, right? You
Yeah.
enjoy what you do, and that's sort of opened up doors to other things.
Yeah, the one thing I'll just add on to that thing, like there's a lot of reasons why you could convince yourself something is not a good idea, right? Like I could tell you, like, so I was living in Bristol for a long time, right? And so when I was teaching chess in Greenwich. So that's about like an hour and 30 drive, or like that one way.
Which way?
Each one way, and then like it's about 3-hour drive. But I was still making that drive, even for 1 hour class. Just not get paid nothing on it. But sometimes I don't get paid at all. But for me, like, now looking back at it, those really paid off, because when I made that drive, I met so many great people here that helped me expanded my business, right? So like, even though in the short term you might think that, okay, that's not smart. You're driving 3 hours just to get paid like, I don't know, like $20. Okay, at that time I was getting paid, right? But like, you gotta think about this, like that 3 hours, one, I get to tell a story to people that, hey, look, this is what I've been doing. And two, I think I was doing in Greenwich at that time. I was teaching class, and they had recommended me to 3 other schools that I've been teaching now. So you're like, now because I made that drive, it opened so many doors to so many different people, right? And eventually I moved down here because there was a lot of business. Like I just couldn't live there anymore. I had to come down. So that's where, you know, like I drive a Nissan. I bought it 2.5 years ago. I added 150,000 miles to it. That's about average of 50K miles a year. So I'm not the person that I will drive anywhere just to, you know, get stuff done. You know, nowadays I slow down a little bit, but like in the beginning, yeah, I was just boom, boom, boom everywhere. You know,
That's good.
you know,
You use your young energy to get stuff done, so that's good.
I mean, but that shows you that age is just a number. Or like if what you were kind of alluding to earlier, where like if you really have the ambition and you have the work ethic to match it, then like there's really no excuse, especially if you live in a country like America, right? And that you're kind of like a testament to that. So I guess we can move on to our second segment, right? Health and wellness, right? And I think so. Speaking of health and wellness, one of the first things that come into mind is mental health, right? Obviously, there's so many different kinds of health, right? Mental, emotional, physical, financial. How do you think your life kind of played out in terms of, you know, like your upbringing, the work ethic that you built up back home, and then you brought it here, and then now you're doing, you know, you came up from poverty, right? Like that's, you mentioned that we didn't grow up rich, we just grew up the way it is. How do you think mental health played a role in your life into you becoming who you are?
Right. Yeah, no, so I would, you know, I definitely had a lot of, you know, issues with, especially with my family, because they were against everything I was doing. And the second I started doing business, anything to do with business, they were like, you know, and I don't blame them, because, you know, they're comparing me to what they know in their small world, like your people, like, you know, I'm doing something like it's just always taught us like a negative thing.
Yeah.
So they always, you know, being a parent, they try to stop me.
And protect you, yeah.
I remember starting like a small business with my friends. They were trying to stop it completely, right? That, like taking my car away, whatever. They're trying everything they can, which put a lot of pressure on me. And it, you know, like that was a big thing. And I don't really know what the right answer. I know a lot of minorities go through that. For me, the chess work I did, I actually made a decision to move out from there and sell it myself, which was a complete game changer. Since then, like things were like, you know, skyrocketing for me. But I know a lot of other people in my shoes. They get a lot of pressure from parents. I'm not really sure what they're supposed to. I mean, I would say if you have a child, if you have a choice to move out and like start doing your own thing, especially if you have a lot of pressure from your family, I would 100% recommend. I know there's, you know, people try to save. Oh, I can live with my parents. This is a common theme I hear all the time. I can live with my parents. I can save the rent money. But like, what does that teach you? How to save money? I mean, like, there's nobody that I know in the whole world that got very wealthy by saving money. It's always, I mean, saving money is good, but the thing that moved the needle was always investing money, right? You're not paying rent. You're investing in a house that gets you to dream big and you can do a lot more things, right? So that's not paying for saving something. That's huge, and the freedom you have, right? So that's been the thing, and I think a lot of the mental health problems that you could have. I mean, for me, if you have a lot of time, I feel like, you know, that's where, like, I remember before I started doing business, I had a lot of time, and of course I was struggling with a lot of things, depression, whatever. But then I don't know. Nowadays, I just don't even have time for it. You know, even if I'm sad, I got so many things going on. I just, you know, I don't have time to think about it. Like I would say, like I'm like, as years go by, I'm getting more happier and happier and happier. Even though my workload is going up, my responsibilities are going up, I'm seeing myself. I'm getting happier and happier and happier.
What do you think that's driving like that happiness?
I think it's because I'm getting more stuff done.
Okay.
I'm getting more activities
every day.
More, you know, like now, like this year has been so great. Like I feel like there's some good news I can share with you every day. You know, if that's in real estate or chess. Before I only had chess, so I had to wait some period of time. But now I have real estate, I have chess. I have tenants coming in, paying more rent, like buying new properties. Every day I could tell you something could happen.
So how do you manage all of that to keep yourself sane?
Yeah, that's the other thing about you need to have people. So I build all together. I would say I probably have about maybe 25, 30 people helping me out in the back, right? So that's
huge, yeah.
right, and I pay them good. Like one of that is I pay them good to keep them on. So that's and they're prospering in their own way. So like I that's where I feel like that was a big thing for me this year and last year, right? Because I think before that I was just trying to do everything myself, which there's so much you could do. And nowadays I know that I cannot say yes to something without having help on the back, right? I need somebody, like even when I teach a class, I commit to teaching a class, I don't do it myself. I always say, hey, I need 2 coaches, just because I can't make it.
Yeah.
For some reason, I have 2 people supporting it. That's been a big one. Yeah, I think to answer your question, mental health, I think it's important, but at the same time, I mean, I don't know if I'm right on this, but if you, personally, this worked for me, if you keep yourself busy enough and you're like, getting stuff done, you could avoid a lot of those problems, in my opinion.
Do you think that I guess that's like the Indian in you, right? Like overcoming struggles or overcoming anything where you're like because your work ethic is the way it is, you feel like you can overcome everything if you're keeping yourself busy, but also if you're keeping yourself productive, right? And that's kind of what drives the happiness, I assume.
Yeah, exactly. For me, like the happiness is it's when, like you said, when things
Success stories.
Even if small,
Story. I remember looking at one of your Instagram videos and you would keep a diary, right? Or journal, right?
Yeah.
On what I'm accomplishing day by day. And I think those habits probably help you to say, all right, achieve, like, these are my goals, my milestones. This is what I haven't yet achieved. So as you check off those checklists, it probably makes you feel good.
Exactly. And everybody have their own way of doing things that will make them happy, right? So like I'm very, very social. Like I know I would struggle very bad mentally everywhere possible if you put me in a room for like 2 days. I need to be out there with talking to people, right? That's what I'm good at. I cannot be with the laptop all day. So that's where like I learned, like things I had to do through a laptop, I try to delegate as much as I can. So things that involve me talking to people, I try to do as much as I can. Right, so that's my way. Like me just talking to people, it makes me very happy, So that's why I like being Stanford is great. I could just go to the bar at any time, I could just talk. There's always people there, right? So I think that's it also depends. And my buddy, he likes going to fishing, right? And when he feels overwhelmed, he just don't bring his phone. He just go for fishing. So I think there gotta be things that will definitely make you happy. It doesn't have to be work. It could be something, but. And if you could do more and more of those, and be in an environment where you could do more and more of those, I think that'd be helpful.
So my other question for you is, how are you balancing your personal life with your professional life, right? Some people just kind of intertwine the two, but there's also so much in terms of your personal and professional life, right? There's physical, are you working out? There's, also the financial health also, right? Which I will get to later on, the financial part, but how are you balancing the personal and the professional life?
I think the important thing, and I know as I get more experience, I learn more about it. And if you asked me the same question a year ago, I would say like, I have this calendar thing, I put all those things together and I try to get everything done. But like, I learned that throughout the year, like, you don't need to get everything done. Like making a to-do list of like a million different things is not the right way. That's what I learned. Because, so in anything you do, there's so many things you could do to any given day. Like, there's so many things I could do that could help, but there's only 1 or 2 things out of the whole list that will actually move the needle. You know what I mean? Not everything is gonna move the needle. Like not everything is gonna bring your revenue of the business from $1 million to $2 million. There's 1 or 2 things that does, and you gotta find out what are these 1 or 2 things. So what I've been doing this year, but this year has been my best year in every real estate, chess, everything, right? Is because I cut down on things, a lot of things. I cut down on about 70% of the things, maybe even 80% that I was doing.
Like what do you mean, like habits or tasks?
I'll give you an example. So, what do I say? For chess, I think it's a great example, right? So, we used to do programs everywhere, like Richfield, Greenwich, Weston, Wilton. I thought that was the way to go. You just start programs everywhere, and it's not that easy. Once you have repetition, I could go and start programs anywhere, right? And I thought that was the way to do it. Right, I will do programs everywhere, but
like expansion, right?
But the thing is, I learned that is not the right way for me to do this business. I knew what I had going on was like, I had like 10 kids in this town, which doesn't make me money, but I would make more money if I had like 40 kids in one place. Because why? Because I get all the coaches in one area, like my town, Weston Wilton, where I have all my coaches, right? Instead of going to Greenwich, where I had to drive a coach 2 hours to go there and back, and I make the same amount of money. But the good thing is like, when I got them to come to like Weston, I realized Weston is my town. I'm gonna delete everything else because I do my camps in Weston, I do my tournaments in Weston, right? So like, not only they come into class, but now I get to sell them on my camps, my tournaments, my everything else. These Greenwich people, they will never come to my Weston camp. They're too far from them, right? So it's like I was thinking for the longest time, just a short-term game, not the long-term game, right? So that's where like I feel like I was making a big progress. Like even for example, like personal health, you could do a million different things, right? You could go to gym, walk, swimming, whatever you gotta do. I could do I think I used to do this. We're like, oh, I'll go to swimming one day, I'll go to lifting one day, I'll go to walk one day, which is good. You're kind of like all over the place. But what's the goal here? Like if you're trying to like really get bulk and like big, you have to go to gym. You just go to gym 5 days a week. Not go to like swimming, all these things. That will help. But what's actually gonna make them move the needle? It's just that one thing, right? This one thing. So that's what I was saying. Like I stopped making to-do lists of a million different things, right? Because if you look at to-do list, if you make a full to-do list, I bet you anybody's to-do list, give me 15 things. There's only one thing that really matters over the other 14 things. Like you gotta think about like, what's that one thing you could do where like it's so important, they will move the needle so much that the other 14 does not even matter. So that also can involve like, you're gonna have unhappy people, right? Like when I cancel my class at Greenwich, I'm getting unhappy parents. But what am I gonna do? I gotta do what's best for me, right? Like I walked out of a deal that I was partners with on a deal in Cheshire. I walked out of the deal because I saw my chest and my real estate business are growing so much that if I try to go on this deal, it's gonna take so much of my time away from doing the deal that I will neglect the two things that are already successful. Like so you're telling me I should leave something to build something that may be successful when I already have two things that are already successful, right? So like I just said no to that. I literally walked out of the deal. I putting all my energy and time to this. I think the thing is there's so much time you have, right? You only have like an average person maybe like 12, 13, even an entrepreneur, you maybe have like 12 hours a day to work. That's all you have, right? You can spend that 6 hours in business or like 6 hours just doing things that won't move the needle. So I would say for me now, I don't have to do a list. I just say, what's one thing I could do today in my chess, real estate, personal, or financial life that will actually move the needle, right? Everything else, I'll get to it, right?
Yeah. I'd say I think let's move on to our next segment because I think that's you're doing a lot, right? So our next segment is financial independence. Obviously, as an immigrant, right, as a minority, and just anyone in general, everyone overall, the goal is always financial independence, right? The goal is creating that generational wealth for you, for your family, and everyone else. There's three parts of you, right? So there's the agent side, there's the investor side, and there's the founder, right, with Chess. You obviously, based on this interview and from what we've already seen, you are very strategic in how you move and how you kind of navigate the business world. And entrepreneurship definitely looks good on you, right? So I would love for you to touch base on the agent side for a little bit, but I think I want to spend a lot more time on the investor side and the Chess founder side, right? And kind of talking about the dynamics for those who are watching and listening. Like maybe they're inspired by your story, right? And they want to start their own chess club, or they want to start something different, similar to how you're running your business, and they want to become an investor. So let's start with what made you become an agent first, and like what do the numbers look like, right? Like what does a day in the life of an agent look like, and what do the financials look like?
Yep.
If you don't mind sharing.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, what made you want me to be an agent? So when I bought my first property about when I was 19, a 2-family, and I was really happy with the agent I had. I mean, this feeling every story.
Was this your house or your parents' house?
So I was buying myself. It was my first 2-family, investment property. So I felt like the agent that I was working with, he did not know much about investment side. He never invested himself, and I just felt like, maybe I could do a better job because I was already, I was buying the property. I went through the whole process. So yeah, so that's what we do. Like, so I have a team called Checkmate team. I have 2 agents on my team along with me, and we'll heavily focus on multifamily investment. And the reason why is because I do it myself, right? I own 6 multifamily, so I know ins and out of this, how to invest in properties, and I'm very knowledgeable in that field. So yeah, so there's a lot of people that want to do that, but maybe not have the right direction, right? So I'm not, I'm giving these people I basically tell them, like, if I was buying their property, what would I do? Like, I have the whole spreadsheet that I share with them, how I run the numbers. I gave them all the connections I built over the years, my attorneys, my lenders, everything, right? So,
as an agent, you're doing this.
Yeah, for the people that work with me, right? I gave them everybody that I know, right? And I also, I'm very well versed in all the attorney stuff, lending stuff that I know that, what's an issue is I'll help you get done with it. But I'll never tell somebody to buy a property that I wouldn't buy. That's where, like, I feel like when if I'm representing on a deal, I'll make sure I'll tell you, and I'll tell as many times, people, listen, I do not like this deal. And a lot of them just come to me, make sure they do it. They'll ask me this question, would I buy this property? And it's yes or no, right? I mean, if there's things that I don't like about the property, I'll tell them right away, right? This is not something I do.
And is that from like your intuition or like through experience, or did you study it?
Experience, like I've been, doing a lot of the multifamilies, like we do it all over Connecticut. I know all the towns, like you name me a town, I've been there in Connecticut, so I know what
all those driving, right?
All the driving. I'm very familiar with the rental market. Like, I do a lot of rentals for my properties. So those a lot of things that, I know if they make money on the property, and I tell them, and there are different kinds of people. Some people are okay waiting to make money, right? They want to just play in the long run. Other people are panicking when they start losing money a month, right? So that's where we're really good at. Yeah. So I was doing it myself. I think 3 months ago, I decided to form a team called Checkmate Team. I brought in 2 guys, and and these 2 guys were doing no deals at all. They're brand new. Now they're doing each of them are closing about 4 deals a month. Each other, so that's about 8 deals that I do, like 4. So we do 12, 13 deals a month. So, and this is a brand new team.
Okay, so I will get into the investing side. Now, as an agent, right? Like when you said that you wanted to become an agent because you weren't satisfied with the service. You also mentioned that you bought a house, right? Now, how are you kind of building up your cash, right? Like, I mean, were you depending on, I'm going to be an agent, I'm going to make some money, and then I'm going to go get a house? Or like, how did that work? How did you make your money for you to kind of become an agent and buy that house?
Right. So I've been wanting to buy a house since I was like 17. The way I got into it is I was in high school, like same thing, I was senior year in high school at that time. Somebody mentioned about investing, and I was like, whoa, what is this whole thing called? Because my parents never taught me about investing. They taught me about saving, a lot about saving, nothing about investing. So when I heard about investing, I looked into stocks and bonds and studied the market, but I just, stocks, I just didn't like. I like being in charge of things. Like I do really well when I'm the leader of something. So the stocks, it's like you can invest, but I don't have control over that, right? I'm hoping the market will do well. So that, I just started disliking it and slowly bring me to real estate. So when I went to real estate, I like this. I control the property. I could do, even if the market crashes, I hold the property, right? I can control the rents. So there's a lot of things that I'm looking for personally. But at the time when I applied, when I was looking at 17, I remember applying for a mortgage. I had like $1,000 in my bank account, no income to show, just $1,000. But at that time, I thought that was a lot of money. Because in a 17-year-old, $1,000 is like, wow, that's good money. Can I not get a mortgage? So I was getting, I think I applied for mortgage like 4 times from 17 to 19. Where I made my money was my chest. So I bought all my properties from my chest money. All of them. Like maybe, realtor helped to get to another level, but like I would say all the properties I owned, 6 of them, all of them were from chest. If it wasn't for chest, I would never buy them. So I mean that's the thing to think about, right? So it's like chess was not like soccer, where it's established, people there's demand for it. A lot of the towns we do chess, there was no demand for it. We had to create them. I remember starting the programs, kids won't come for chess. I had to tell like it's dodgeball / chess. So kids hear dodgeball, and they come for dodgeball. Then I teach them chess, and I created this interest. We created that whole interest. There was no demand for it, right? So it sounds like West. We created that. So like and we build it up. So I mean that shows you like you could do anything. So anything you can make money on anything you want. But it goes back to one thing. Like so, when I was starting off, it was only chess. Real estate came later when I was in a position where like I started hiring coaches and I had to be that involved, right? But like I did not do chess and real estate at the same time. It was chess. But I got to a good point, and then it sold. Like all even to this day, I would say like 60% of my clients are my chess clients. So it's vice versa. They trust me. Like a lot of these chess parents know me for years. I go to their houses for dinner. They invite me to their kids' game, right? Like so, they know who I am, and I've always been there for them. I've been to the star. Like, so, and that's the thing why I try to do with chess. It wasn't just about teaching chess. I was very involved with these kids' life. I was going to the games. A lot of the families, they know me really well.
You were like an extension of their family.
Yeah. Right? I remember some point I needed like some housing. There were so many parents willing to give me housing just to stay in their place. So that's where I got the money. It's always the chess.
What does a day in a life of an agent look like when you were an agent, right? I mean, were you still an agent when you kind of did your own thing? And how were you able to, I know how you got your customers, but how were you able to kind of navigate, all the different struggles and obstacles that you have? And then the third part to that is like, what does salary look like? What does compensation look like as an agent, right? In your shoes.
Yeah. So the thing about agent, when I started off, it was rough because I don't know what I should be doing, right? I mean, I call a lot of people. In the beginning, it's a lot about building relationships. I mean, real estate is very much so, and as you know, it's a relationship business, right? The more people know you, the more they trust you, the more they will do business with you, right? So like if I know it's a lot of conversation. The more conversation you have with somebody, the more they trust you, the more they like to refer. So in the beginning, I was just making phone calls. Maybe for the first year, I don't even think I did. Maybe I did like 2-3 deals the first year, right? Maybe. And I was working all the time, trying to make the calls and everything. So year 2 really picked up. All the people that I called, they and social media played a bigger role. Actually, anybody I talked to, I had them on Facebook or Instagram, and I keep posting about social media, real estate. Like social media was big, where like it built my reputation. Like people trust me.
Obviously, being an agent, from what a lot of people know, it's not easy, right? It's not an easy job. But what is the income potential, right? Like from what to what would you say for someone who's looking to become a new agent?
Yeah, no, it's the income potential. Like it is a saying that it's you make what you kill, right? Like it's a lot of chasing down. There's no guarantee, right? And as you know, like it's always, there's no guarantee tomorrow. None of the deal is guaranteed until it closes. Like I remember one time I had like 4 deals on the contract. They all fell apart, right? And you put hours of work on it. So like in the beginning is a lot of struggle. Like it makes you feel like it's not worth it, right? Like it's not, because you're spending a lot of hours, but because you have to. Like for me, what made me like having a lot of good money was me finding my niche. My niche was, and I think everybody at some point will find their niche. And if you look at any real estate agent that's successful, doing really well, they found their thing that works. Some people it's door knocking. Sometimes it's cold calling. Sometimes it's looking at the phone, right? Like one of the agents on my team, Shay, he's a beast on the phone, right? Like he just joined a month ago. Him on my team. And he already got 2 listings that went under contract today, right? So like that's like a month of it's like over $1 million of like that he just did it. Right? I mean the commission on that's like over, I don't know, probably just like 25 grand right there. New agent, like fresh out of college, doesn't know anything.
That's like life-changing money out there, yeah.
But I think that's a good thing about just joining a group, a team, because like he did something I took me like a year and a half or 2 to do, because I had to learn through the process of doing it. Where I just make sure he skip all that and just told him what to do, right? So I think for me, like that one thing was investors, like investing in properties, because that's what I do, right? And it's easy sell to people when you're invested in as well, So I'm not a random guy that's telling you should invest in properties. Like, listen, I'll show you what my property. That's always the first conversation. When I meet somebody, I show them my property, and I'm very genuine. I show them like how much I make on my property, what I sold. Like I show them my 2-family makes me $2,000 every month. My this property makes me this much money every month. Consistent. So like that itself builds a lot of track records. Like after I just show that, I think I don't need to do any more convincing. It just. But once you find that niche, like, it's like, you could go, well, so 90% of agents fails to find that niche. They will never get to that point of finding what's that thing that helped them. So, like, I think I saw a statistic the other day that there's 16,000 agents in Connecticut, or 16,000, 5,000 does not even do one deal a year.
Oh, wow.
Like, which is like, I don't even know how you live off it. Like, I mean, even if you make, because realtors have a lot of expense as well, right? Like, it's not like when you get a 10 grand check, it goes to you. It goes to brokerage, you pay your other expenses, and like you have tax at a 30% scale. Like, out of that 10,000, you might make like maybe 5,000, maybe 4,000, maybe 3,000. I don't know what it is, depending on your split. So I think it's important, but there are agents out there that are making like, like close to $1 million or maybe more than $1 million a year, which is totally possible. And by them, some even do themselves. They don't even need a team, right? But that came from, that doesn't come right away. You gotta build a reputation. So either if you're a newer agent, I 100% recommend joining a team that's well established, because it lets you skip so many different steps, unless you want to go through that. Maybe some people, like, I think for me, like, I think I would join the team. At the same time, I'm also appreciative of what I learned. I learned so much through the hard way, right? Through the hard way, which makes me like, even more excited to teach my people not to go through the hard way, because I felt it. I felt what it like to not work so many hours and not get paid. It's like, I know the experience. I don't want to I don't want anybody else to go through that. But it's a good business. I mean, if you give it, there's a couple of things I think you need to consider being a really successful real estate agent. One, you have to be, ruthless. Like, you can't just, one rejection cannot hit you the door, right? Like, I mean, like, I know when I meet somebody that I feel like a client, right? Like, I follow with them so many times. Like, I mean, obviously, a lot of people are like, oh, they text them and they'll respond. They're like, oh, I'm not following up with that guy anymore. Like, my guys, I get them follow up like crazy. Even if that's 5 texts a day. I tell to my 2 people, you will never hear from me anything bad just because you lost a client because you follow up too much. But that client was never interested in the first place. But think about it this way, right? If you met a seller that wanted to sell a house, right? But he's not sure because he has all these objections. He's like, oh, I don't know where to go. I want to sell, but I don't know where to go. I don't know what the market get. But he wanted to sell, right? He wanted to sell. Your job is to like follow up with them so many times and break down, like destroy all the objections, right? Like you gotta do that, right? Because especially and build the trust, and you gotta build the trust, show you're the right guy. That's your job to do it. So just because like somebody didn't respond to your first call, sometimes I had to call somebody for the 30th time, like before I he picks up. The guy who joined his brokerage my team 2 months ago, this listing he got, we had to follow up, I think it was about 30 times through text, email, phone call, whatever it is, before we got that build that trust. But that shows a lot, and I think that's been a big thing for me. I follow up with people. I follow up with you and show them, add different value. I show them like I'm ruthless. A lot of times I get business just because they see how much I want it, right? How much I'm willing to work for it, right? That's big. I think that stuff, like you just gotta like do it. Like even like people reach out to me and like when they keep following up, I give them an opportunity, right? If that's like anybody in the field. So that's more.
So as an investor, right? Let's move on to the investor side. 20 units.
25, yeah.
25 units at 22, right? How does that happen, man? Like, walk us through that. I'm a new investor. I want to get into investing, or he does. How do we, or anyone watching, how do we get to 25, right?
Like, and similarly, I recall like you were open to even asking other investors if they wanted to partake in an investment. Maybe it was an older post, but maybe that's something you want to share and be able to say, okay, Because we know we have a big network as well that we can share with them to say, hey, we know Jithu, he's interested in investors. What do they need to, I guess, what do you look for?
Yeah, I mean, before even I say anything about buying properties, I think the biggest thing in that field or in any field, it's not my saying, it's by Grant Cardone, but I live by this. It's like commit first and figure out rest. So I'm not the type of person that needs a lot of convincing, right? Like when you ask me for this, I'm not thinking about a million different things. I'm just gonna do. I'll do it. And if there's any objection comes along the way, I'll figure it out, right? So it's like that's with my first home, my home too, right? I was like, I didn't know anything. Actually, a lot of people that you probably know more. I mean, you definitely know more than what I know when I start buying my property, right? But that's the thing. You don't need to know everything, and that's the biggest mistake people try to figure out. They feel like they need to know everything before they make the move. But the thing is, there's so much to learn. You will never know everything.
Ryan Serhant said, nobody knows what they're doing, but some people
still do it anyway.
Do it anyway.
Right, I love that quote. I love that quote so much. So when I bought my first property, it was a 2-family. Right? I didn't even know. Like, I remember going under contract, but doesn't even know what the next step is. I don't even know what is the inspection or the mortgage stuff. I had no idea. Nothing. I don't even know how to. I'm the worst in probably like handyman possible. I don't even know how to change like a light. I don't know anything. So it's like, but I always had the mindset, I'll figure it out. Whatever comes along the way. I mean, there's so many things that come along, and that's the problem. A lot of people try to plan things out and try to avoid, but there's still things that come up, right? That's where you're an investor. Your job, part of the title of being an investor is like you solve problems. You invest in properties because you're solving somebody's problem. So this housing crisis or some renovation is solving problems, and you're not supposed to figure everything out. You're supposed to be that person that has the mentality to figure things out. So. Yeah, anyway, so I bought my 2-family. I did owner occupied. So I would put down 5% down or something. So it was my first 2-family. I lived in one, I rented out the other. I remember it was $250,000, my 2-family in Bristol. It only cost me all in $25,000. We turned off in the chest. So
and this is when?
2022, right before the prices started.
2 years ago, yeah.
2 years ago. So I started buying real estate. And yeah, then I lived there for a year. I moved out. Then I did it again, another primary, and then I moved out of that. And then I stopped buying properties. I had more capital, so I stopped buying 20% down. So I bought a 2-family. Then I bought a 3-family. Then I bought a single family. After that, then I got 2 people that I really liked, and I want to partner with them, and we partnered with them, and we bought 11 unit together, a 6 unit, a 5 unit. So that was good. Then I bought another 4 unit with them. So that shows if I were to buy myself. So before I partnered up, I think I had 2, 3, 5, 6 units myself, right? And then I partnered this year, and just this year we bought over 20 units, or 19 units in 1 year. So. A lot of stigma on bad partnership, but good partnership exceeds so much. We bought 19 units in 1 year, right? And we actually on the contract to buying 16 units, so we're gonna end up over 30 plus units in 1 year of partnership together.
So are you a number cruncher? In order for you to, because obviously with all of these investments, you're trying to figure out profitability.
Yeah.
What's my interest rates out there?
Yeah.
Am I gonna get rental, for the properties? I assume you're not flipping, right? You're renting. You hold, rent. I think you look for appreciation of the value of the property, but mortgages got to get paid, right? So how are you, I guess, making sure that you're not forking up money because of occupancy issues?
I control the numbers that I can control, like taxes, insurance, mortgage. I cannot control. It's gonna go up and down no matter what I try to do, right? I don't even know. I look at I seriously look at rental, right? I'm told right now my properties I look at. So we're buying a 16 unit in Chester, Connecticut. Okay, rents are super low, 800. Everybody's paying crazy low rent. I love that. So when I bought my 11 unit, right, the same situation. Everybody's paying low rent. So that's value add right there, because a lot of people get scared. They're paying low rent and they're not paying market rent. Of course, they're not paying market rent. That's the reason why they're low. But that's where you add so much value, because in those kind of properties, right? So for example, I can tell you my Killingley. We bought it for 1.1 million for 11 units, okay? With everybody paying 800. We increased our base rent, and I've been removing one tenant a month and replacing them with market rent tenants, right? And we do that for the last 6 months. So we have almost everybody out. We're paying market rent now. Now that same property, I didn't do much renovation, little by little. That same property is worth about 1.4. So I had about $300,000 of equity in like 6 months from rental, just getting the rent to market level. Those properties are.
And now, like, what's the profitability looking like on that now that you raised that?
So much. Like, I think last time I checked, we were making like $6,000 a month profit, cash flow after every expense, all the maintenance costs, mortgage, taxes, everything. Like,
and then you split that 3 ways, I guess 2 ways,
yeah,
or
yeah, we split 3 ways. We keep it the mag, and we try to find things to do with the property, but I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, like, you got to think along. So short term on that will be like you getting the cash flow, but long term, like, I could care so much about making cash flow every month, but I don't really care. I in long term, I mean, the long term there is like I made $300,000 on equity in like 6 months.
Yeah.
Right. That's a long term play that I had over there. I mean, that was supposed to be 2 years. We were able to do it in 6 months, but that's the same thing we're doing with the Cheshire. Where we bind it like somewhere in the 2s, and once we increase all the rents, it should be worth about the 4 million, right? So that's where so the Cheshire one I brought in a few investors. So you asked me what I look for investors, like so like we obviously I allow a few people to come, like nowadays the deal I allow a few people to come in with me, but the people that come in are very passive. Like I still manage, I do all the management, and they get a return on their investment for being a part of the deal. And I mean, as people that I personally, I want to know them really well, right? I think they should know me.
Yeah. Especially with the money people.
Right. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that do like internet money. I don't think I'm there yet. Anybody that invested with me, or they know me really well. They know who I am. They know where I live. And I take good care of that, especially when people are trusting me with stuff. Same thing for my chess. Like when I was running a tournament. I had like about 30 kids, and parents left with me. So these parents trust me to take care of their kids, which is more valuable than their money, right? So I always had in my mind, hey, if you want me to take care of something, I'm going to take care of it, right? Like the way. So I had a little background with the chess kids, so I do the same thing with the real estate.
As far as like looking at a deal, right? What are you looking for that says yes, I'm going to invest in this property?
Number one is definitely location. I mean, I'm sure you guys heard about it. Location is so important. Like the recent deal we bought in Cheshire, great school districts, but both public and private, one of the best school districts in the New Haven County, right? Great neighborhood, like 10 minutes away from like Quinnipiac, 15 minutes away from New Haven. I also like when I go, if it's a town that I don't know, I go to the town and I talk to all the locals. They like go and talk to the people in the gas station. Go and talk to people in the liquor store. Go and talk to them. Like anybody you see in the street, I talk to them. You learn so much about the town, by just going to the local places. And they tell you what people coming in. It's a town that you see a lot of new population coming in. And if it's a smaller town, they know. They know who's coming in, who's moving out. And you kind of want to buy in town, there's more people coming in and moving out, right? And what do you call it? Proximity to things like, is there a grocery store nearby? This one has walking distance grocery store, Starbucks, right? Everything is close by. How's the neighborhood? Safe neighborhood. So I go at nighttime and see what things are over there, right? So that's location is the most important thing, right? That's where people get tied up about the cash flow. Like, you can make money on property, even if you give me the worst property in the world, I can find a way to make money on it, right? There's always make money on it as long as the location is good. That's one thing if the location is bad, the property is great, it doesn't help, right? Because you need the location to be good. So that's what the property could be in the worst condition possible. Like we were actually under contract for a property that the ceiling is falling apart. There's trash everywhere, right? But you can, it's not a big deal. You can fix that up. Put a new roof on it. Anything interior, you can fix it up. So I guess after that, then I look at the property. When I look at the property, I look at the foundation and the roof mostly. That's the most important thing. So the property we're buying in Cheshire, 16 unit, I only saw 1 unit. I didn't see the other 15. I don't need to. I know there's gonna be work to be done, right? But I look at the foundation, right? What's to be done in the foundation, the roof. They all checked out really well. Then all the work inside, they're fixable, right? If you're a contractor, those aren't the biggest deal. People try to make a big deal out of them, but anything inside, it's an easy fix. It doesn't take much. So that's important. And the third thing is I always look at the long term play on this property was short term. Like I'm okay losing money on a property, even if it's up to a year, and if in the long run it's going to make you much more money. That's one thing I liked about the two partners. That actually they made me realize this more than I did before I met them. I was always about the short term. I need to make cash flow every month. If I don't make this much cash flow, I'm not buying this property. Like I think it was like $2,000 I had in my mind. I make $2,000 cash flow, doesn't matter. But they on the other hand, they have a different way of thinking. They're like, I don't care if we make money. They don't care anything about cash flow. They care about buying property, good location that's gonna appreciate so much. Like so, they've been showing losses on their property for years, but they're gaining so much appreciation.
Yeah.
That it beats all the cash flow losses they had.
Yeah.
Right. So real estate, you can make quick money in cash flow, but real estate is meant for long-term appreciation gain, right? That's where you make the most money, right? You can make $2,000, like even good money on it, but it's not changing your life, right? That's where real estate, that's where I think real estate it's a long-term thing. For me, what I'm doing, like a buy and hold, I'm not planning on getting rich right away. Like that's like a long-term thing for me. Right. Like for me to make my short-term money is chess and realtor. That's what I do. So that's why I think people should have two way of doing their things, right? They should have a thing they do that's long term, that build their wealth over time, not quickly, but over time, and they do something right now that makes money at speed and that is everything.
Yeah.
So you need that.
So what are your goals? Now that you are, I think one of your goals I heard was like you want to buy 1,000 units.
1,000 units.
Yeah.
Is that your goal?
I'm curious to see when you're gonna change the name, your Instagram name to 1,000 Unit King.
Yeah, 1,000 units. That's funny. Yeah, we do want to buy 1,000 units by 2030, and I have a goal of my team Checkmate to be one of the top teams in the state. Hopefully by end of 2025. We're on the right track. The way we're going right now, we should push together. And the chess, and that one I want to. So summer camp is our bigger time for chess, and I want to have 300 people in the summer camp each week for 8 weeks. So that's the goals for now.
Do you go to national competitions and things like that?
We do. Yeah, we try. We do a lot of big tournaments ourselves. So we do host a lot of things ourselves. Actually, next Sunday, we're asking all of our kids to donate chessboards, and we're gonna bring that chessboards to kids in Bridgeport. That we've been teaching for free for years. So all the kids there's about 200 kids in Bridgeport that are gonna get a free chessboard for Christmas this year. And this coming Sunday, we're actually all the kids are gonna bring me the chessboard. I'm gonna dress up like a Santa Claus and bring all the kids chessboard. Yeah, so we try to be good to the community. So no, it's been good. I mean that's been everything in a good track, and like I said, when I have when you have things like this going on, you have a good team. There's always wins to share. So I'm always happy every day. Like I said, as years goes by, I'm more and more happier from what I'm able to do. So
that's saying you meet your goals,
Yeah.
right? Is that retirement after that?
it's gonna be another goal. I think it will never end.
Goal chaser, yeah. Which is good.
It's always just gonna keep going up. You just set new goals. I think it's for me it keep you going, right? I mean,
One quick thing, I want to move on to chess. That business is phenomenal to me. One quick thing for people who are watching, a new investor, right? Or someone who, let's say they bought their primary house. I have a house, primary. My kids live there, family lives there. What's the first step we take to becoming an investor for those who are watching?
So you own a primary house and you're looking to buy an investment property.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So
What advice would you give someone like me, and what advice would you give someone who was brand new, doesn't have any real estate?
Yeah. So for you, if you already own a home, and it depends on when you bought the home, but if you own it for a couple of years, you might have a lot of equity on your home already, right? So we've been doing a lot of those actually recently. We're doing a refinance of the home they're living in, or doing a HELOC on the property they have, because that's an easy way to because equity I think is it's temporary. Right now everybody's equity is pretty high because market is pretty high, but tomorrow market crash and you lose all of that. So I think it's a good thing for you to take a loan out of your equity and use that to buy more property while the equity is high. So that's, to me, if you already own a home for a couple of years, that's a very good way to go and do that, right?
Doesn't that increase like the mortgage, right? Like significantly? And like, I mean, how do you?
Yeah,
offset
so
that?
I mean, obviously, it's all borrowing money. You borrow money from, but this is the thing. You might borrow, I don't know, 8% of HELOC, but you might buy a real estate that produce like 15% return, right? So you still end up like profiting like about like 9%. So that would be the best way. If you want to hold on. But if you're new to this and you've never done this before, and you're like
What's the first step?
First step, I would actually do the first time home buyer program, where you can live in one, rent out the other. Like that's what I did. I bought a 2-family. I live in one unit. I rent out the other. It's okay if you don't make money. I mean, you probably won't if you're buying a 2-family. But it reduces your expense, right? But the thing about it is that instead of paying rent now, you're paying a mortgage. But some of them will go to your principal, and you own the property, and which you can appreciate. So if you're brand new, I would definitely buy like a multi-family, and that's what I did. And I'll do it again. You live in one, rent out the other, and after 1 year, you can move out, rent out both, and maybe do it again. So that'll be the best way. And there's nothing that beats that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So what would you say, I guess, just to, what would you say to the viewers that are seeing you, or any inspirational things that you would want to share with them? Feel free to go ahead and share that more.
Wait, sorry. Before that effort,
Oh, you wasn't in it.
yeah, I want to just quickly talk about the chess.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, the chess business, right? Very quickly. Obviously, you cannot be duplicated or replicated. You are who you are, and you built this business, right? 2 questions. One is, are you ever gonna think about franchising? Is this a business that's franchisable? I don't know if that's a word. And then the second question is, how lucrative can this business, something like this business, be, where others maybe are thinking about to do something similar, where they can, create cash flow?
Yeah. Definitely thinking about franchising some point in the future. I mean, we're still I'm still trying to figure all that out. I wanna fully explore Fairfield County now. I mean, there's there's more places I could go, and there's so many schools here, so many programs I could still reach out to. So I wanna fully explore it more I can before I franchise, right? And this is a local business. Yeah, it really is. Because I'm in the kids business, but this is where I'm actually in the kids entertainment business. That's where I'm not in the business of coaching kids, right? That's where actually 99% of chess business. So this is actually actual statistics. I think about 90% of chess businesses all in the whole country fails. They don't make money, right? So because they try to make it into a coaching business, or they train advanced player, they try to bring all these players to go to nationals and all this stuff. We're not that. We're literally a kids entertainment business. So I did chess tournament today. Okay, usually chess tournaments are all day. I play over 700 tournaments. Usual chess tournaments are all day. You play a game. Once you finish your game, you wait a couple hours for everybody else to finish, and you go to the next one, right? And it's all day like that. My chess tournaments it's short. It's 3 hours long. That's it. Okay, and once the kid finish the game, they go outside. I bring them outside. They play Nerf, dodgeball, soccer, all the sports. They're having the time of their life. Right? I give them ice cream. I give them pizza. It's basically a party.
Yeah, it's a party.
It's basically a party they're coming to, right? And it just happened to be a chess
I
party.
want to go to this party now.
Right? It happened to be a chess party.
Well, he has 2 kids, so he might bring them along.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
Right.
So we'll talk.
So even my chess lessons, it's it's not full just lecture. It's 20 minutes of teaching, and there's a lot of fun game. You do a pawn football, where you just play with the pawns, and the first pawn to get to the other side. So there's a lot of fun game. So I think the coaching business, I don't know. The chess side, it's not a business to be in. It's just there's just too much expense and too much demand. Not demand, too much expectation where you cannot make money. Right? A lot of advanced players, they want cash prices, and they want these venues, big hotels. Well, somebody has to pay for this, right? But what I'm doing, the kids entertainment business, it works, because I'm not in a goal. And all my parents know that too. I'm not in a business to turn these kids into a prodigy, right? I mean, listen, there's so many other places that do that, and you can send them over there. But for me, my idea is chess helped me so many ways, right? Help me patience, critical thinking. I could give you a million lists of things that chess helped me in my life, right? So that's why these kids I want them to be. I want them to be more patient. I want them to think critically, right? I want them to learn all these basic life skills that chess could provide you, and have fun, meet people, sportsmanship, right? So it's that's where I'm in the business for.
Nice.
Not really trying to turn people into big players.
Man, this is amazing. Thank you,
glad you gave
Jithu.
that clarity. Because when I heard chess, I'm like, okay, you're
Right.
trying to just go level up, right, to the next big competition, win some prize, get some recognition, get some fame from it, right? But this is a totally different sort of side.
Man, there was so much. We unpacked so much, right? So thank you so much, Jithu. We really appreciate it. Any words of wisdom, advice to everyone that's watching, right? Just business and life.
Yeah. So the biggest thing that I know that I would say is like, if you really want to do something, whatever that is, I think your environment is a huge factor. I think you're the sum of 5 people you're surrounding yourself with, right? So if you want to be in real estate, you better be around with people that are doing much better than you in real estate. So I'm still around with people. So I'm around with people who own 100 units. So obviously I'm around all these people that do so many properties. I will buy properties, right? Like it's impossible if you're with like all the people around that are like,
Like-minded. Yeah.
Like-minded. Same with I'm literally all my friends are entrepreneurs. They run businesses, right? I don't hang out with people that I don't hang out with people in my 22 years old. Most people that I hang out with are in their 30s and 40s, right? Because I think alike with them. I don't think alike most of the 22 years old people. They're a different world, right? So I think, and for me, that involved moving out of my town, which was Bristol, and coming to Stanford, right? And which is a sacrifice I made. I think if you could change your environment and be around with people that are doing what you want to do, and they already done it, it's impossible for you to fail. There's no way. It doesn't make. It's a numbers game. If you're around the people and you're hearing the same thing, if I'm telling you about real estate 5 times a day, you're gonna want to do it, right?
Yeah.
You'll turn into a real estate pro. Of course, So that's my advice.
Awesome.
Be with the
Anything else?
people that you want to, excel in and learn
No.
from them.
Yeah, there was a quote by a famous rapper who passed away. He said, if your circle doesn't inspire you, you don't have a circle, you have a cage.
Okay, so there we go.
And it's amazing,
But
but
it has to be with people who are better than you as well. You can't be the smartest on the road.
yeah, that's awesome. Well, I don't have any more questions. Do you have any? All right, man. This was awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. So.
Well, absolutely. This is great.